for it.
So you're probably wondering why we are here, but Urban Plan is a offshoot of the Urban Land Institute and is a program that is worldwide and global and something that we do here as part of the Pittsburgh chapter. And so Urban Plan is an experiential learning experience with for public officials and for township and village borough staff that sort of puts you on the inside. It sort of turns everything inside out. So you are on the development team making decisions about the development and about how to weigh choices and to go with this, to go with that, to respond to public comment, to respond to stakeholders that are part of the community, to have a finance plan to follow, to have a site plan to generate. And so what this does is puts you in the shoes of the developer and the development team, comprised of about 6 or 7 different characters that you play throughout the exercise. And so with that, I'm gonna hand off to one of my colleagues.
Sure, we can advance to the next slide. You see some real time. This was 2 years ago. One team, and this was our winning team of urban plan for public officials. So as Brandon mentioned, we create development teams in our exercise, and everybody within that team has a role that they play. So that might be the financial analyst, that might be the site planner, that may be the marketing director. When you create a development team, and then ultimately there's a competition to make it fun and to make it more of a learning experience. We can advance one more slide. I think Brandon hit on most of this stuff, but we really try to make it as much of a learning exercise as also a networking and facilitation, because we love when folks like yourself get together, and this is a small example of that, how you all work together anyway, but learning from other townships, municipalities, and really get to see some of the experience play out as you're in your development team, things that you bring from your neighborhood and your home, and then how that gets talked about in your group, and what ends up winning in your design plan. But we do it, it's a team exercise. There is the slide, the paper that you guys have, I think, has really good visual representations of what it looks like. So it's really fun. Like we really get these boxes of Legos out, and each Lego color is a different product type. So you can see down here, they're like playing with the Legos, and then yellow down below that podium represents podium apartments. So yellow is a residential building type, townhomes up top. Red is retail, so you can see that scattered throughout this sample site plan. But you work as a team to build out your site plan and put all the different uses in there. And then it translates to some financial returns that get developed in a pro forma. And then you as a team get to work together to decide if that's the ultimate plan that you want, if you're meeting financial metrics, if you're marketing, if your spaces are being absorbed, that kind of a thing. So it's a fun exercise. It gets you to get out of your comfort zone, certainly take on a role that you may not be used to, in representing your neighborhood or in what you do day to day. We can go to this slide. So we talk about who should attend urban plan workshops. We think anybody who touches real estate in any way, shape, or form. So obviously here we're talking to you guys about public officials. So it can be council members, planning commission members, zoning hearing board, administrative staff, interns love to do this. We also have worked with redevelopment authorities, nonprofit partners, and community groups. And then there's even adaptations for this outside of, for public and officials and adults at many school levels. We've done it at colleges and universities, CMU, as well as for, adolescents and teens. We've done it for the Boys and Girls Club, which is also a really fun, rewarding exercise.
And we did it for the municipal interns program this summer, and that was really fun. And the plan process is always the same. We usually just tailor the length of it. or sort of like the cadence of it based on whatever group that we're working with. So the day starts with kind of an introduction to the game playing, and sometimes we will do like a preliminary session, like a few days before, just to orient people to what some of the kind of like rules are. That's not a mandatory thing. Then everybody is organized into teams. The teams work on a vision and they come up with a vision statement like you would with a real urban planning project. Then they start to build a scenario and a facilitator comes in and sort of asks some leading questions about, hey, why did you guys do this? Or did you think about this? Can you explain that? And then what's put out on the table is revised. That facilitation happens again. And then there is a preparation of a PowerPoint presentation and a financial worksheet for a mock city council presentation that sort of culminates the day. And everybody needs to do their pitch. And what I think is so great about it, everybody on the team has a speaking role because they speak as the sort of persona that they've been tasked to be. So it's really a good opportunity for people to participate in public speaking as well. These are the 5 team roles that Brandy mentioned. There's an environment and equity director because there's sustainability component and some goals that each team is trying to hit. There's a financial analyst, a marketing director, a neighborhood liaison, and a site planner. The ones that I think are most fun are when people who are usually site planners in real life are now the financial analysts, and the real marketing directors are the neighborhood liaison. So it gets everybody to put on different hats and look at things from different perspectives. And I won't go through this in big detail, but like some of the key decisions that spur like real life situations are, should we put a supermarket on there or should we put a Q-Mart? And a Q-Mart's like a Walmart, right? So that always has like a lot of discussion with the group. There's some social uses like a homeless shelter and existing buildings to sort of contend with and talk about. And then there's an affordable housing target that needs to be part of the pro forma. Some of the outputs are job generation and carbon offset, and that falls into the sustainability component as well. So anyway, just things that spur discussion amongst the group.
Yeah, this last side is a lot and really gets more delved into when you're actually doing the exercise, but it just highlights how we can take a day-long program and really get people to understand the thresholds, the financial sort of threshold that you see in development. So the pro forma that these teams put together, again, in a fast pace, usually a day, maybe we have 2 days to be able to do this environment, is super friendly and spits out these, required returns. So you do highlight a developer return, a city required return. As Carolyn mentioned, affordable housing thresholds. And then you can get into more detail. It calculates construction costs, it calculates net carbon, a variety and job impact. So you really get to see what real estate development does from all different angles and kind of weigh those things and market absorption side by side so that you can, hopefully see in a simulated environment as you make manipulations, as you might say, okay, we're gonna put that supermarket here instead of the Q-Mart Walmart scenario. You can put it in and then take it out, put the Q-Mart in and see, where does revenue come from? How does that impact jobs? That kind of thing in real time, which is very helpful as, especially in our youth, when we do this, they are sometimes astounded at the cost of things. And so I think it's fun to watch, as they sort of create this environment that they want to live in, and be able to present that, so.
And then some of the best conversations are like, this is where we wanted to organize the retail street. And so there's thinking about that. And like, this is our one green space, or we wanted a green space in each of the blocks. So it's just interesting to think through how everybody thinks about city building.
The slide of that one.
I think you go to the last, is that the last one? Not the last one up, you know who we are already introduced ourselves. So yeah, why urban plan? I think this is a good summary. It sharpens skills if you are in the real estate or sort of related fields. Consensus building, it really helps teams understand where each other's point of view is coming from, both again with your contextual sort of experience, but then also the role that you're playing for that day. Relationship building, as we said, it's you're put into teams with folks that you don't work with every day, so it helps to get other perspectives and ultimately make those connections for after urban plan. And then prioritization, I think we all work on that every day, even my 10-year-old has to work on it. But it's always an important skill. So yeah, that's where we've been focused on Allegheny County. To date, we have had a meeting with Washington County and hope to roll it out to some of those folks next year. But that's urban plan in a nutshell. Brandon, I'm out.
Yeah, I would close by saying, I
Yeah.
know a lot of communities in the cog are smaller, maybe built out. But that doesn't preclude any kind of, interest or value gain from participating in this, because I know the mock city that we do use is actually, it's infill development. And I know a lot of infill development does happen in Sewickley. I mean, Sewickley's able to keep its streetscape and keep its downtown going due to infill development and how well it's been managed. So I just think that, the infill development was probably the key in the mind of the communities here, so.
What does that mean?
Taking development that already happened, like in the middle of your downtown and redeveloping that block. So it's not a blank slate. It's not necessarily out in the cornfields or anything like that. So
Yeah,
it's
that,
redeveloping what was once there.
Mhm.
the plan, so when we lay out the Legos and the site plan, what that actually means is it's 6 city blocks. That basically the RFP describes this city owning 6 city blocks, and they are asking for requests for proposals. That's what the teams work on. And there's a cost to acquire those blocks, but it talks about all of the adjacent uses. So you get a map, you get to, basically have a clean slate of 6 blocks, but you know what's going on in the immediate vicinity, as well as a larger context map about where this city is in relation to like university centers or highways, industrial districts, so that you can start to really make sense of, what does this look like? Does it look like a Carnegie, or does it look like Sewickley? Does it look like Ben Avon? Does it look like Mount Lebanon? Like that kind of a thing. So it really puts it in context what you have, and it is, like Brandon mentioned, an infill development, which is awesome because you have something to go off of.
Yes, oh, good.
I was just gonna say, at the end, we sort of like identify a winning team. And to me, it's more about team building than like
Yeah.
understanding how to lay out everything in the development. It's like making relationships, so if you want to do something together in the future, you guys already have that sort of basis of treating things and understanding complex situations, so.
And it's very scalable. So I mean, we talked about 6 blocks with the exercise, but it's scalable down to a block or down to a building, in real life.
Mhm. Would you ever have someone, who is like part of a chamber of commerce participate in this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, we've had economic development groups, chambers of commerce. We've done it in the private sector for, interns, just as a team building exercise where you don't get too much into the financial component. You pay attention to the big metrics, but we don't, get down and dirty and talk about like construction costs. It's just a great team building exercise.
that's what I'm thinking. There's so many stakeholders in Sewickley for the town. It's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
Like, we need to get all those people in one room.
How many people would you need for this exercise in total?
We recommend 15. We'd like to have at least 3 teams, and there are 5 roles for each team, so we recommend at least 15, and then in some cases we can double up roles on teams if we don't have the ability to like go to a 20 then.
And we provide all the volunteers as an organization. The only considerations are really where you want to have it, and if we're doing it over lunch, like who provides the food for it, but everything else.
So
you
there's
don't.
no cost?
So there's a minimal cost for ULI Pittsburgh, basically we have an executive director, so we have a staff person who helps coordinate everything, makes copies of the RFPs, like there's a material cost, but we use we had grant money last year, so it's basically, I think, $1,000 depending on the time frame that we do it in, so I mean, plus or minus. But we bring all the materials too. We own the Legos, so we bring those out. Site plans, we used grant money last year to buy Chromebooks. So all the teams have a Chromebook that they're able to utilize for their presentation and the pro forma. So really, it's just our staff cost and then the printing materials of each person gets a RFP that you get to take home. It's like 200 pages.
Oh, wow.
But no one ever reads the whole thing, but it's a good digest, right? As you're going through it, you flip through it. So it's really just like admin and printing costs.
So if there were people on this call or people associated with people on this call that would want to do this, are you looking for like the cog to pull together enough people to do one workshop? Or do you have like an upcoming date that people can consider?
So both, we do urban plan for public officials annually,
Okay.
and that's partially underwritten in years past by some sponsors. So we can provide that at like a low to minimum cost and obviously invite anybody who's interested if you weren't able to get up to the 15.
Mhm.
And then that would be a great opportunity because we have repeat offenders or repeat invitees as well as some new folks from our other municipalities, but if you wanted to do one on your own or invite sort of additional neighboring boroughs, we could do that, and then you could have, at least your pick in like time and location and all.
Mhm. When's your annual event?
It's usually in the summer.
Yeah,
Summer.
I think it was May, June,
Yeah,
right?
I think it was.
Okay.
And would you guys be able to give us like, that all the costs, like a formal quote?
Yes.
And that way, maybe
Mhm.
perhaps next month's meeting, we can approve whatever that cost is. In the
Absolutely.
meantime, we can start to like poke around and see if we can get that number.
Right, like if
Reaching
we
out,
wanna host it and invite people,
yeah,
yeah.
Mhm.
reach out to other communities, reach out to our managers group, reach out to the chambers in the area.
I mean, I
Yeah.
can think of 3 or 4 people right now that I'd wanna ask to do
Mhm.
this.
It is really fun too, I just
Yeah.
have to
Yeah,
say,
it is.
so.
It's like thinking about it from all different angles,
Right.
which, we just get used to thinking about it from the one angle and then there's like
Mhm.
some.
Mhm, mhm.
And just to give the perspective, so I was asked to be a part of the last cohort in the LGA's municipal intern program. So Brandon reached out and I had an opportunity to be a city council person and listen to all the different sales pitches. And there was 3 or 4 of us on the board and we had to formally approve one of the 3 pitches and it was fun. To their point, you really get to put yourself in a different perspective. So,
Mhm.
you might be a planner this time as opposed to an elected official or a financial advisor as opposed to elected official. So I don't know, it is fun and it gives you an opportunity to just experiment and see what you might be able to do if you had a blank slate and blank canvas. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely step out of the comfort zone.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for having us.
It's very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
cool. Thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Does anyone have any questions?
anyone on Zoom, and we have way past a quorum. We had like 4 people join after this.
good.
Meeting.
Good.
Oh, awesome.
Going once, going twice. Okay, well, we'll keep the conversation going. Like I said, we'll
Yeah.
if we can get some numbers as far as volunteers, and then we'll consider a formal approval of whatever the cost might be in November.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure,
Perfect.
sure.
Sounds great.
Thank you again for coming out today.
Yeah,
thank
And
you.
feel free to stick around. if you'd like to. It's up to you.
Do you want to move on to Curtis? Or do you want to just get started?
We'll formally kick off the meeting and do the pledge. and
Do
everything.
it. All right, 7:23. We'll call to order the Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 meeting of the Quaker Valley Council of Governments Board of Delegates. And let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Patrick, roll call, please.
You got it. All right, so first up, Aleppo. No, Art's not here. Thanks. Avalon. Bell Acres. Bellevue. Van Aven.
Here.
Van Aven Heights.
Here.
Edgeworth.
Here.
Emsworth.
Here.
Glen Osborne. Glenfield. Hayesville.
Here.
Killbuck.
Here.
Leedsdale.
Here.
Sewickley.
Here.
Sewickley Heights and Sewickley Hills.
Here.
That's a quorum.
All right, excellent. Does it look like we have any guests, Patrick, or for public comment?
Nope, other than
Okay.
Chris.
We'll pass over that one to item number 5, approval of September 17th, 2025 meeting minutes. I will take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll
Second.
second.
Okay, any questions, comments, or changes to the meeting minutes? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item number 6, approval of September financial reports, unpaid bills list, and payroll summary. I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Patrick, you want to give a summary for us?
Really nothing major. I did add one bill on this list just this afternoon. We got a Post Gazette invoice for one of our advertisements. So this does differ slightly than your beanie packet, but other than that, no news. I mean, we passed our budget last month. I think we're in really good shape this year and excited to start the planning for next year.
Yep, we got through our budget cycle pretty quick, huh? Pretty easily. Okay, any other questions or comments before we vote? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And item 7, President's Report. The only thing I'd like to report is just a reminder for our Hard to Recycle event on Saturday. We still are looking for volunteers. And I'm still also looking for volunteers for our Route 65 committee. So far we have 2 people for the committee, but I'd like to find 2 more people that might be interested. If you have a special place in your heart for the pains of Route 65, please let me know and join our committee, and we are gonna see what we can do about that. And that's all for me.
Right.
All right, so next is the Route 65 report. I don't really think there really is much to report.
Nothing really. We have a meeting with Peter, Michael Baker, and his team next week. So this has been a long time in the making. We finally got a date planned out. So I hope to have something to report concretely for our signage endeavor. So
When is that meeting?
that is going to be on the 21st. So I'll send you the information if you'd like to join.
Okay.
But that's going to be next week again. And this is really the kickoff to the first kickoff call on the welcome signage endeavor. Those that might not be familiar, about 4 months ago now, we approved a plan to develop a strategic design guide for welcome signage throughout our communities, something that any community can take and basically have one plan of action. Whether you choose to use it or not, it's up to you. But just something that we can use on the boulevard or key entry points in your community. So Michael Baker International, as many know, is who planned our Route 65 strategic design guide about 5 or 6 years ago. So this is something that's pretty much a continuation of that, but really just fine tuning one specific aspect of it. So excited to see where that conversation goes. And again, hopefully we can really pin down how much it's going to cost and what the timeline is. That's really what we're going to talk about during that meeting. So
one of the goals of their report initially was that placemaking would be important, like to create some cohesion across all the neighborhoods of Route 65. And so having signage that looks the same is a way to, achieve that feeling of placemaking, like these are all the neighborhoods along this boulevard. So that's what we're gonna pursue. All right, anything else on Route 65?
Nope.
All right. Number 9, Emergency Preparedness Committee update.
So yeah, I want to bring this to the board's attention. So we haven't had a meeting for a little while. So I want to leave it up to the board here. Is it something that we want to remove from the agenda as a standing item for the time being and just report out as necessary? It's been about 4 or 5 months since we've actually convened. So I wanted to bring that to you guys and see what you want to do in that front. We can leave it there, or we can just report as necessary.
I think initially this committee was formed, was it after the derailment in Ohio, just to start talking about what would happen if there was a derailment in our communities, especially ones where some of the residents live like on the river side of the tracks. How would they evacuate? I mean, I know that Barbara used to serve on this committee, so is everyone still on, like, or is everyone still here who
Yeah.
would be on this committee?
Amy, did you have any insight on maybe how you feel about where we stand on that committee?
Yeah, so I would say probably as needed for now. I think we will get back to a place where it's probably a standing item. We haven't had the meeting specifically, but we have had some movement and some interesting discussions between our municipalities. Specifically, we've been talking about a potential grant with Norfolk Southern. Apparently, they have a pool of money available for projects related to the communities around the railroad. So we have been working with Representative Gatos on this, in both Glen Osborne, ourselves, and even a little bit of discussion, I think, with Swickley, with the president specifically, during our last mayor and president's breakfast. So the conversations are still happening. We have had conversations again with Glen Osborne about putting the backup generator at the light, to be able to, when the electricity goes out, so that they have a solar powered backup, so that that light right there at the intersection between Hayesville and Glen Osborne won't go into the flashing mode. So again, all that to say, I mean, as far as an actual committee report out, we don't have anything to say about it at this moment, but we are making progress. I think it's just in a little bit different format right now. So we will, I think, pick back up on it, but just trying to figure out a few things kind of on the sidelines first.
Okay, I mean, that was a pretty good update.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially the funding opportunity was pretty exciting to find out there are grants specifically from Norfolk Southern. So we've been talking specifically with Glen Osborne about how. But I think we had the discussion as well at the last mayor and president's breakfast with Leetsdale, talking about those communities that we have right along the railroad tracks, and things like being able to put up a wall or a type of barrier, especially for those homes that are so close to the railroad, but also discussions with Leetsdale specifically about some of the emergency management pieces that they're putting in place, including, I guess, some not ramps, that's not the right word, but I think something that goes in between the rails to be able to allow vehicles to drive across when they would need to. So again, discussion happening, but just a little different.
What if we, Amy, would you be up for us if we just left this on our agenda and you could just say like no report this month, or give us a kind of report like you did tonight?
Yeah,
Where
absolutely.
you just like tell us if there have been any kind of movement?
Yep, absolutely. Happy to.
I think if we take it off, we'll never hear about it.
Okay,
Because like outside, out of mind, we'll forget.
Yeah, works for me. I just wanted to throw it out there. I know it's been like 3 or 4 months. I'm like, there's really nothing to report. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm that's fine with me.
Okay,
It's fine with you guys.
okay, all right, thanks, Amy. All right, any questions or any other thoughts about emergency preparedness? Okay. Next is grant status report.
Yeah, a lot going on right now in the world of grants. Just this afternoon, had a call with Paul and their engineering firm. So we're gonna have a project be put out to bid in the coming weeks with Emsworth. We had a project just open up in Aleppo Township for a gaming project there. So again, this list is for your use just as much as it is mine. If you see something in your community that maybe isn't moving, please reach out. Let's have a discussion about it and see how we can move things forward. But a lot of things being put out to bid, a lot of contracts closing down, contractors being paid. So yeah, a lot of movement here. We're actually currently in the application period for CDBG. That's the Community Development Block Program, year 52 applications. So that's going to be opening up from September through December 1st. So we still have about a month and a half. So if your community has any ADA compliance projects or sewer and water projects, or any project at all that you want to discuss with me, reach out. We'll set up a call with your manager, your secretary, your engineer, and we'll see what we can do. A lot of money out there, and right now we just have one application that we've submitted so far. So it's a much longer application window than we're used to. And the last thing I want to see is us waiting until the last minute and Thanksgiving comes around. And it's like, well, we have 5 days. So we have time, but if you have a project, please reach out. We'll have a conversation and see how we can get it, submitted.
Okay. Any questions or comments about grants? Okay, let's move on to the executive director's report.
A good segue because that was the second item there. So we'll skip over the first one. That event's already come and went, but the county executive is reaching out with these Connect events, and it took place on October 9th, so last week, at the Cobble House in Coriopolis, I think. Second item was the CDBG application window, which we just went over. Next up, so we also have the Act 152, which is blight remediation. So if your community has homes or structures that maybe have been lingering around and need torn down, this is a perfect opportunity to apply for some money through this. It's a county exclusive grant, so the money is very local. You're not competing against across the whole state. It's just Allegheny County. So again, if you have a project in mind, reach out. We'll go ahead and get an application submitted. That actually is going to let's see, October 31st. So we still have a few weeks to get an application in. And I also wanted to highlight, this was almost like a year ago now. I feel like it started the PRT funding crisis, right? We had their executive director come in and speak to the group about potential of route cuts, closure of bridges, closure of service on the T line for those that might utilize that. So to summarize, more or less, they've bridged the gap, utilizing some capital funds. So we're good for at least another year or so. I have a feeling this discussion will probably be not too far down the distant road. But if you have residents calling, hey, is our bridge going to close? Hey, is our route going to be cut? The answer now is no, but it's something that I expect kind of lingers around here for the foreseeable future. So good news, but not for long, right? But I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that. So there were some serious impacts that were being proposed in Emsworth and Ben Ave and Bellevue for those bridge closures. But right now, if anyone asks, you're good to go for now. So that is the report for this month. And thank you, Julie, for highlighting our recycling event. So those that might not be aware of that as well, Saturday, it's our first Hard to Recycle event outside of Leedsdale. So this is going to take place at the Northgate High School in Bellevue. So it's a good opportunity. It's the registration's closed, right? So hopefully everyone's that was interested in recycling their televisions, tires, electronics, dehumidifiers and such registered for it, but really excited to see the turnout. If you are interested in volunteering, let me know. I'll get you on the list. You can recycle a bunch of stuff for free if you volunteer, $70 worth, which is like 5 televisions. The weather looks great. And yeah, it is election season. So if you're looking to come out, meet a lot of people, get some photos, it's a good opportunity to do that too. So just let me know.
I'm sorry, did you say it is closed? There's
The registration, let's find out. I think it is, but let me just make sure. we'll go to our website. So this is a good opportunity for everyone to see that. So hard to recycle event right here. Get the tickets. Few tickets left, it says. So there's 12 spots remaining. Okay. So no, it's not closed. There's a few spots remaining in different time slots. So you just have to go to our website or prc.org and then pick a time slot that's interested that you like. I know it opens up at 9. So from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock, it is sold out. But it looks like the later afternoon times, there's maybe like 30 spots here and there. But a lot of the time slots are sold out. So like you basically get a time slot, you drive out, you pay ahead of time, so it makes it really streamlined.
Mm.
And last year the hot item was dehumidifiers. So Daryl and I lifted like 500 dehumidifiers. So I'm interested to see what this year's hot item is. Might be the tube televisions are kind of by the wayside.
They're dehumidifiers.
But yeah, we'll see what the turnout is. But the weather looks good.
Nice. Thank you, Patrick. All right, moving on to new business. We had our presentation already from Urban Plan volunteers. So we'll move on to our next guest, Chris, from OHM Advisors for the consideration of partnership between OHM Advisors and Hollow Oak Land Trust to develop a mapping strategy for connected trail access within the COG region.
Yeah, just a real brief introduction for Chris here. So Chris introduced himself to our managers and secretaries group last month. And that was a week after we had our discussion with Hollow Oak Land Trust. We met with their executive director, Sean Brady, who came out and just briefly discussed some of the projects that are happening in our region, some really exciting stuff. So after Chris came out to the managers and secretaries group, I was like, wait a second, there's a lot of synergies here. There might be an opportunity to really do something special. So we met on a call, Chris, Sean, and I invited Chris to come out and basically pitch an idea to partner as a group of 3 different organizations to see if we can bring some reality, quicker reality, to a lot of these trail access points in our region. So, Chris, go ahead and take it away, if you don't mind.
Sounds good. Thanks for the intro, and thanks everybody for having me this evening. I apologize, I'm not there in person, but I've got a sick kiddo upstairs, and hopefully can contain the sickness to this household and not, start to spread it across the valley. As Patrick said, my name's Chris Riggert. I'm a principal and landscape architect with OHM Advisors. OHM is a 60-plus year organization. We've got about 800 staff members across 27 offices in the eastern portion of the Midwest. And I represent our work in Pennsylvania, specifically our office in Pittsburgh. And we did have a really, I think, great discussion amongst Patrick, Sean, and myself around what could happen with trails. I'll say we are connected to some of the regional planning that's happening, working with the county on their comprehensive plan, and know that there's some big things that the county is planning coming down the pike, and see that trails are a really important part of providing quality of life to residents, conservation properties, protecting our natural environment. So what we had come up with and some of the ideas we had talked about is, can we come together between the 3 organizations and with the constituent municipalities and QVCOG and look at trail connections and opportunities to be able to get the ball rolling and get the conversation started. There's a number of resources that are out there. Hollow Oak has a trail map on their website. The Allegheny Green Web, if you guys are familiar with that concept, has been floating around for a while, which is a regionally connected trail network. And with this comp plan coming down the pike, it's a good opportunity and a good time to be able to come together and think about what some of those potential connections could be and what value it would deliver to your municipalities. So what we had done is generated a draft scope of work of what that could look like and floated that to Patrick. It's not by any means set in stone, but what we had proposed is a first step of data gathering, pulling together the variety of resources across organizations and developing a GIS base map. If you guys are familiar with GIS, your COG actually has a really excellent GIS database that a lot of other communities don't have access to. So somebody's getting the nod in the room, but it really is a great resource. And so we would be collecting information in a similar format. That would be the foundation for us to be able to identify where there are gaps in information, where do we want to dig a little bit deeper. And it's also a tool for an analytical foundation where we can start to do geospatial analytics and understand the impacts of some of these trails and investments. And I'll say too that as soon as these things start to show up in a GIS layer and they're made available, they start showing up in other people's plans. They start showing up, popping up in places you wouldn't expect, and that's really the start to, again, getting the ball rolling. So after we develop that, we would then facilitate a workshop with the municipalities to come together and look at property, look at opportunities, collect some of those, and that would be a direct input into potentially a trail prioritization matrix and understand which areas are going to make the biggest impact, what are most important, and the criteria for that analysis could be set collectively so we can understand what is the QVCOG region value in trails, and how do we start to make decisions about what's most important. So that's what we had floated. And I'll say, if you heard from Sean, you know that he's chomping at the bit to build trails. That's what their organization does. They're a trail building organization and conservation organization. So I think, again, looking at the Allegheny Green Web and maybe what the potential future could hold and how to invest in natural surface trails that could connect to a larger network could hopefully bring a lot of value. So I will say it's a good time too, because I was literally at a trail summit today with the Trust for Public Land, the city, and Connect, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. You've got a board member in your midst. Yeah, that's you, Patrick. And there's a lot of excitement around trails and the value, and so it's in the water right now. And so that's what we talked about. I'm happy to answer any questions. The scope we put forward is not set in stone. I think the next step from here is if this is something that sounds like folks are interested in, we could work together and start to hammer that out and figure out what a final scope and fee might look like. So I have some maps I'm happy to answer questions, pull up different things, but that's kind of the nickel tour of what we had talked about.
Yeah, and thank you, Chris, for that. And really, I just wanted to bring this concept to you guys as the board first. If it's something you're all interested in and think this is a feasible plan for the organization, we can really start to hammer out those details with Chris and Sean to see who's going to do what, what those costs are. But to Chris's point, there are certain grants that we can't apply for, right? DCNR is one of them. Those are really your parks and recreation grants. Municipalities can apply, and nonprofits can apply, right? So it's like maybe we can do some things, we can bring people together, but maybe the actual application process and the money flows through an organization like Hollow Oak to make these trails and these access points and easements a reality. So food for thought. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide if this is a plan you want to pursue, but that's really what the whole gist of this is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will say, Chris, it does surprise me that there's such a scientific method to go about like the analysis of trails.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think it's great to like get the experts in so that we are prioritizing the right things.
Can I ask what the ballpark budget would be for this kind of project? Because it's like a planning project, right?
It would be a planning project, yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up. I think the way that we conceived this is not necessarily that this would be steps 1 through 25. I think what we're talking about is really taking the first step, which is gathering information, hearing from leadership around the priorities and establishing some of those. And I anticipate at the end of this, at least this initial exercise, we may actually have more questions to answer, but we're going to have the right questions to ask. And we know what kind of data we're going to need to fill in. So I don't anticipate this being a heavy, full encompassing study that runs years, right? I think this is a quick exercise to start to collect the information, but we can scope out what that looks like. And I think we can also build to suit what the appetite is. So if there's a desire,
I just want to put it out there that DCNR application season is beginning there. The webinar for their grants is typically like November 6th or something, and I already signed up. But they do fund planning projects at 50-50 match. And so like the timeline, and then I believe it's opening, the applications will then open in January and go for throughout the spring. So I guess I'm saying is like if we come up with something, it's doable. It's just would have to understand like how big it is. That's
Right.
all.
You must have been at the summit today, Maria, because you channeled what Adam at DCNR said exactly. November
Yep.
6th is the opening. They're going to run through the applications for this year, and then this year is different. They're going to run it from April, or excuse me, from January 1 through the end of April, where previously they've ended at the beginning of April, and they'll take supplementary material. This year they're not going to do that. So end of April is the hard deadline. But I do foresee something like this, if we keep it kind of light, could help inform that application so that you're applying for the right thing, and you can really tailor a good application. Or you could, apply for some funding and do a little bit of a bigger study too. We're here to be a good partner and kind of help push this forward in a way that makes sense for you guys.
Okay, so are there any thoughts about whether or not we'd like to see like a scope to consider?
A great idea. I'd like to.
I agree.
Well, I mean, I definitely agree. I'm just thinking that, again, looking for the funding of such a thing, any multi-municipal, if QVCOG applies for a grant to fund this, it goes in as multi-municipal effort, and that is definitely a big plus for all the funding agencies. They like to fund things like that. QVCOG could definitely apply, but I mean, we all could give letters of support. Like they're just DCNR stuff is just very involved, but it's doable. Like we've done it. So yeah, but really would help to understand, I suppose, the scope of work. Yeah. And it would include, and then that would include all of us. All our municipalities would be considered as locations for these trails, because thinking for my municipality, Leedsdale, we are kind of out of the way. Like I know we're not connected to any county-wide trails, and if there is a way to fix that, I'd love to find it.
Yeah, I think that's the whole concept
Right.
of what we're going to do here is to see where those access points are and maybe where the easements and access could be. And then plot it out visually to see, okay, like this is what it would look like. And then we start to talk about the planning aspect of it and work with OHM and work with Hollow Oak to understand how much it costs and what agreements look like whenever you reach out to those land trusts or individual property owners. So,
Patrick, is this anything we need to vote on?
yes.
Okay, so then what I'd like to do right now is propose a motion to enlist our friend Chris here from OHM Advisors and Sean. Is it also from Sean? Or is this just from Chris?
Well, it'd be a partnership with all three. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So to launch a partnership where we are requesting a scope of work that would get us started in this planning project and that we could consider at an upcoming meeting. So if anyone would like to make that motion.
I make that motion.
Okay,
Can I maybe make an amendment or something to that effect on it? So the Allegheny Land Trust, I met with Terry Gilbert within the last month.
no, wait a second, hold on a second. Can we get a second and then
Sure.
make your amendment? You want to second it?
Sure, I'll say.
Okay.
Well, and
Okay, go
so I just know that there's a bunch of land that they have as well, and that abuts, for instance, Swickley Hills, and so
Mhm.
that's exactly what I was meeting with them was to talk about the same kind of thing. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it's just the three, or is that also like, I can't speak for the Allegheny Land Trust, but like they have plans. They had plans that I didn't know of. For instance, they had a map of a loop that's kind of a pretty big decent space around 79. So is it just these three entities, or can it be others?
No, I think your point, and Chris can maybe help me out here. That's what their role would be too, is to sort of bring everybody into the same playing space here after we understand what our region really looks like with these access points. And then we start to really bring all the different partners in.
Love it.
But I don't know if we need to like that. Is this something we want to do? And then if it is, then we can start that planning process with
Gotcha.
outside agencies.
Right, this motion would just be to get like a consensus from the delegates who are here tonight that this is a project we're interested in. Okay.
Definitely, yes. Yeah.
And Chris, I do have a question about that. Since you're working with the county on the comprehensive plan, are you also working with Allegheny Land Trust? And do you have access to all of the maps in the county?
We have access to the publicly available GIS data, right? And
Okay.
I think we don't necessarily have the land trusts. I haven't seen the information, but it's stuff we can go hunt for and find. I know Western Pennsylvania Conservancy also has property, so there's a number of different partners that I think, again, this is about kind of getting all the information together and getting it in a format that's kind of actionable because there's a lot of pieces floating around.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so,
So
but it's
yeah,
something to search for, yeah.
I would just to kind of clarify, at this time, we're not incurring any expenses with you. The proposal would help us receive partial funding for this project, should we all then decide to proceed, right, to um do
You
it.
will not receive an invoice from me for my time.
Okay. And I do
No.
want to ask, since you're working on a comprehensive plan for Allegheny County, are they planning any public engagement sessions or key stakeholder meetings anymore? I think there was a couple that I missed because I was away, and I really wish to, if I could, if you know, if there is anything else coming up, I really hope I could attend.
Yeah, I didn't come to speak about the comp plan, but I'm happy to. There has been an initial engagement period that included 5 working sessions with municipalities and interest groups around the area. Those have passed, but there is going to be, I believe, right now we're still talking about what a potential public-facing component could look like to the general public. But if there's interest in participating, you didn't get a chance to, by all means, Patrick, please share my contact, and I'm happy to find an opportunity to make sure that you have the resources to stay engaged or maybe even have a conversation to get your input into the plan.
Great, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Any other questions or comments on this motion before we vote? Okay, just to clarify, my understanding is that we're just requesting a scope of work, but we're not approving that we're going to adopt the scope of work.
Yep.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Chris. We look forward to working with you.
I'm excited as well. Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Have a good
We'll be in
evening.
touch.
Yep.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, that's exciting. I think that's really exciting. Imagine being able to ride your bike through all those neighborhoods. So fun.
So, do we have a committee on that kind of a thing? 'Cause that's something I would be interested in being on.
Yeah, not
A
yet,
Trails
but
committee.
that's certainly something we can put together.
Yeah.
Let's wait for this proposal.
Yeah, I
Let's
like that idea though.
Yeah, so like next month, I would anticipate he has sort of a cost, and we can approve that budget, and then maybe as a part of that motion, we have an approval I'll put that on the agenda, so it's all sort of doctored up, and yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so think about if any of you are interested in sitting on a trails committee, and then you have a little time to sleep on it, think about what you'd want to accomplish with that, and then we can vote to form that committee next month. Okay, cool. All right, moving on to old business, no old business. And so we'll move on to concerns by delegates.
All right, we'll just go around. So we'll start with Maria on Zoom. Anything new in retail?
So yes, we are gearing up for our planning projects that are in the works. Just had a meeting with our Keystone survey consultants who are going to be doing a historical resource survey, and active transportation and the boat dock plans are also kind of starting up. I wanted to ask if there is still interest among some other municipalities in having a shared intern from the local government academy for next year, because Patrick, I believe last we talked and then I was away, their webinar for the program is coming up, right?
Yeah, it's me next week.
All right, so has there been any more thoughts on that expressed by anybody? Is that something that people are interested in? Because Leadsdale would love that if there is participation from another municipality or two, like, because I'm kind of understanding what the budget wise, what the most that we could put into that kitty.
I mean, I honestly haven't spoken with Donna about her interest in having an intern, so I wouldn't know about
Mhm.
our neighborhood.
Yeah, and something to highlight, I mean, if you have a project in mind, we still have time to add to what that project looks like. So definitely hop on that call. The
So yes,
application,
Patrick, everything I sent you already. So just let me know if there is somebody else who would like to share the costs. So that's really it. I mean, do you want one for QV Cog specifically for the umbrella organization? Do you
if
want
it
the
will
intern
get
to do
you,
work for you?
if it will get a town like Leedsdale or help facilitate an application, I'd certainly have that discussion with you. But yeah, definitely, no matter what, I would consider applying. And then we can always add to, like, whether it's Leedsdale or LGA, we can figure out what the ultimate project looks like. But the application window is very soon. It's October
I know,
26th.
right? It's really is coming up. So I guess I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Do you need an intern for yourself?
I don't have plans to apply
Oh,
for
okay.
one for us, but I could think of something if that helps you guys
Okay.
apply. You know?
Okay, so I guess I'm just really gonna, I guess I will attend the webinar. Patrick, will you attend the webinar?
Yes, I'll be on.
Okay, and I guess we'll just see what they say and then kind of touch base and see what we could put together.
It's a great program.
Okay, but if anybody wants a shared intern, please speak up. I mean, really, I'm sure there's stuff that needs done. Everybody has stuff that needs done. But that would be, if we could share, I think that would be really great. Okay, thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Paul, what's the Demsworth?
We're just waiting for the elections. We have 6 out of 7 council members.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's our next council meetings after the election, so we'll know who we have. by
Oh my
then.
gosh.
It includes the mayor also. We only have 1 council member staying on.
Are you up for reelection, Paul?
Oh, yeah, I'm on. So I ran for a 4-year term and a 2-year term. See if I get either. So, we'll see what happens in November.
All righty. Ellen, what's new in Edgeworth?
Budget season for us. That's, I mean, just like everybody. Other than that, Way Hollow Road is going to be opening in hopefully just a few weeks. Very excited to put that project behind us. Nate and I have been working on getting the speed limit lowered to 25, and just being the liaison between residents and PennDOT is always fun. So we're very close to the end there, and the road will be open soon.
Thank you for that. Jill, what's new in Bed Ave Nights? And first off, let's welcome Jill. This is, I think, our first meeting in person.
It is.
So thank you very much.
You usually see Steve Stiller, so
Yeah.
I'm alternating for him tonight. So
Okay, cool.
thanks for welcoming me. Okay, Ben Evan Heights. We are working on using a grant for the second part of our sewer project, lining our sewers. We're using a grant to establish an ADA sidewalk that will connect the Shanapin Country Club to our bus stop. So we're pretty excited about that. And we are in the midst of, Steve might have mentioned this before, a beautification plan for our neighborhood park. So at this point, we are, we just finished the second of 3 meetings that the point is to gather input from the residents on what they'd like to see in the park, how they use the park. So we went with boards and engineers, gathered the feedback from residents. That's gone very well. And has really given us an opportunity to discuss the park and get the residents involved. So it's been a great project. So yeah, that's it for us.
Thank you very much. Daryl, what's new in Killbuck?
Nothing new in Killbuck. We're just getting ready to start a paving project, which includes part of Ben Avon Heights. So we're working together on that, and then some other streets being paved as well. And that's it.
Daryl, why aren't you having like a Halloween cemetery tour up there?
Ooh.
That would be pretty creepy there, wouldn't it? Yeah, no. There's already creepy things going on in that cemetery. Don't want to add to it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Hunter, what's new in the hills?
So on that, on the GIS mapping, we are looking at trying to get some GIS maps for us and some layers to that. So that's something that we're looking to explore. But we did go with a developers agreement, so there will be some new construction off of Red Mud Hollow Road. So that should add, over the next year or two, 400 or 500 population in our borough. So that's
Wow.
pretty significant.
It is.
That's 20 years in the making. So the developers agreement is signed. So it's all good. And that's, I think, what I have to report at the moment.
What was the name of the development?
We call it the reserve.
Awesome. Tavia, what's new in Ben Avon?
I don't think I have anything this month.
Easy enough. Julie, how about Swarthly?
I think today we just opened our new park on Chadwick Street that has pickleball, tennis, and basketball court. It's a revamp of a park that was already there before, but we added the pickleball.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was not on the Parks Committee, but they worked really hard on that project. So, and it's been a long time in the making, years. So, yeah. And just to say, like, we did get a lot of grant money for like all the parks things that we've been doing. I mean, really, Swiftly's been applying for grants for anything, any project that we have. So I just want to encourage you all to remember, like, ask your borough engineer to check in, like anything you're working with your engineer on, you can ask them to check and see if there are grants that are appropriate for those projects. And then sometimes there's matches with the grants, sometimes there are not, but it's just, you just put yourself out there and you'll be surprised what you get. Yeah.
I saw that Swickley donated some of the park equipment to Glenfield. I thought that was really
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
Oh, and that's at a different little, so there was another little park that got like a facelift on Maple Lane. And so yes, they had the equipment, the playground equipment that was there that they were replacing, they donated. I don't know where Glenville put it, but I think they were
It's
happy to have it.
They have a park, a pretty large park. There's a baseball field and a kind of a park along the river. So, and it didn't have those type of slides. So that'll be a nice addition for them.
Yeah.
By the Veterans Association, right?
It's down further. It's kind of, if you make if the Veterans is on your right, you make a left and go all the way down. They have a park down there. It's where their monthly meetings are held. So they have a park building, a municipal building, and a pretty nice sized park.
Oh, I want to go check that out.
Well, while we have you, Amy, why don't you take it away? What's new in Hazelmore?
Sure. I already mentioned some of the emergency management stuff that was kind of on my list to talk about. We are going to work, we're working with Glenn Osborne to reach out to PennDOT again. We had a meeting maybe 2 years ago with PennDOT and all of our local police to talk about the traffic on River and Redgate Road because we were getting a lot of larger trucks and buses, and we had several accidents. So we got together with PennDOT, all of the local law enforcement, and several of our local municipalities, including Aleppo, Glen Osborne, and I think others participated as well. And we're looking to have a similar meeting within the next couple of months, just to kind of revisit that topic with PennDOT, to request for some additional signage. We have a 1-lane bridge on the River Road part of the road that is a yield, and people just blow through it all the time. So requesting that, but we're also hoping to talk to them again about the Route 65 light and the accidents that we have there, and try to continue that conversation so that it's not, we've had zero success. They've told us in the past always that that isn't actually one of the more dangerous lights, and there aren't enough accidents to qualify it for money from PennDOT to make changes. But we feel like we have to keep keep having that conversation and keep it in front of them as a topic. So working to schedule that soon. And that really is it for us.
Amy, can I say something about that? Were you on one of these meetings where we were talking about how the police reports are
Yes.
managed differently? Will you please tell them that?
Yes, well, we do, and that's part of why we'll probably have the meeting in a couple of months. One, it's hard to get a hold of PennDOT and schedule meetings, but to make sure that we have both the state police report, the Swickley police reports, all the information we can gather, but we also have the business that's right there has been keeping as much as possible their own log related to it. So we have a lot of different input on what's actually happening at the light. And as you said, there's a lot of variation in the way things are reported, and what PennDOT is actually receiving versus kind of what's happening. So it's one of the main conversations we want to have from them, because we think there's no way it can't be one of the most dangerous lights. So
Right.
we need to figure out how to make sure we're properly capturing that and conveying it to them.
Amy, there's also, I'm trying to look it up right now, but I might have to look it up later. There's also a Facebook page that someone made in Swickley called like
Yes.
Swickley Traffic Update
Yep.
and Crash Updates or something. And there's
Yep.
always pictures that people are posting of that intersection with accidents. So.
Yep. It's almost daily. I belong to that as well, and
Okay,
we
good.
definitely
So that would
see it.
be
Yes.
useful.
Another piece of evidence for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Anybody else have anything for the group? I think everyone went on Zoom and in person, but anything else before we close up?
No, so thanks for being here, everybody. Have a happy Halloween.
Likewise.
Who wants to be famous in the minutes for the adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Sure.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Have a great
Good
one.
night.
Bye.